Do you get stressed out over money matters and avoid confronting your personal finances? We'll be talking about the stress, anxiety, and discomfort surrounding money matters and how to overcome this negativity and get financially fit. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Strategize Your Business Online. This is the live for entrepreneurs like yourself who are looking for a dose of business inspo and ways to leverage the online space. My name is Boswell-Buck, and I am the digital marketing strategist behind Boswell-Buck Creative Consulting. What we do is we help you to connect with your target audience in the online space with strategy. Now, before I go further, I'm just going to say that if you're watching the live right now, thank you very much. Or if you're watching the replay later, please put in the comments the name of your business, your website, and how it is that you help your dream clients. So I have an amazing guest today, and I'm going to give her an introduction right now. Her name is Kamille Smith, and she is a personal finance trainer. Now, Kamille graduated from Ryerson University, currently known as Toronto Metropolitan University, with a Bachelor of Commerce in Finance and Accounting. Since graduating, she has been working in the financial industry for several years before becoming the founder of FitnanceIQ Services, providing the community with tax preparation services, bookkeeping services, and also personal finance training. She has been part of many not for profit organizations such as D Life Dance, Experience Life Community Services, and the Olive Branch of Hope, and also with businesses, organizations such as Centennial College, Christina Diligianis, and
Good
Flip,
job.
thank you, and Flip and Flop Incorporated, to name a few. Currently, Kamille is working towards her passion of becoming a CFP, Certified Financial Planner, to give back to the community and help individuals become financially fit. Kamille Smith, welcome to Strategize Your Business Online. How are you?
Thank you. I am lovely. It's a beautiful weather outside, especially after last week. So I'm enjoying this weekend or this week so far.
Yeah, yeah. At the time of this recording, we have the um, Easter holiday coming up, so it's a nice short week. So, yeah.
Happy Bun and Cheese Day
Yes,
or weekend.
yeah. Well, Camille, I would love if you can start off by sharing, like, who are you and what is it that you do?
Okay. Well, even though you did a great introduction, thank you. I like to call myself a personal finance trainer because, I am the founder of FitnanceIQ Services. And to have a little story, it's a little bit of fitness and finance together because those are my two favorite things to do. And I thought I would play with the words and try to teach folks how to be financially fit with having the mindset of budgeting, uh, learning how to have a mindset about investing. Once they've learned the habits of saving, to graduate into investing, and just helping businesses with their books because it takes a lot of times to clean it up a little bit, but once I give them the proper structure and guidance, they're able to figure out how to work ways with their businesses. So that is me.
Okay. And if can you share more about your journey? Like, what led you into doing this?
So I have to give a shout out to my mother, rest her soul, and my auntie Cass. They were actually working as accountants before, and when you have a role model and you're always like, yeah, I want to be like them. So I loved numbers when it came to like high school and university, and so I really loved numbers, and accounting and finance were like hand in hand when I went to Ryerson. Then I realized how much auditing, how much fun auditing is. And I said, you know what? Let me steer into finance. And that's me being sarcastic because anyone knows auditing. But I steered it back into personal finance, and just when I was in a personal finance course, and we had to do a comprehensive financial plan, and it took me hours. I literally was up like doing all-nighters trying to figure out different scenarios to help people, like in the story, to help someone become retired and like which scenario would work. And I was like, I love this. This is amazing. Like, I want to do this. I just want to help everyone just figure out like the retirements. And even last year, having the ability to see like high value earners, like their attributes or their mindset about financial literacy, I was just like, yeah, I definitely want to keep down this path and just keep growing. And I know when it comes to different communities, they don't understand the value just yet. But that's why, I'm working towards being patient and making sure that they understand the value of like financial literacy and just retiring with having the peace of mind and having like financial stability.
Why do you think that certain communities don't understand the value?
Well, and this is the reason why I started my podcast as well, is and I'm not dogging anyone, is just like when it came to like even my folks back in the day, it was like, oh, don't talk, don't listen to our money talks. Like, this is grown
Mhm.
people's things. Like, you don't have to learn, just be a child, and you don't have to understand this until you're like 18, and then you jump into college or university, and the right when you get to university, that first week where they're like reeling you in, where you actually learn how to like about credit, savings, that's when you really realize how much you don't understand money. And I just want to have people more comfortable with having that discussion with their family, because I think that that's the key point, is not having the opportunities to show your kids what you're going through, like how to get an allowance, how to maintain a credit card, how to properly save or rent, and such things like that. I think it's really we didn't have that opportunity in the past, but it was no fault to our parents or grandparents, because they didn't know it either. They were just making it by as well. Adulting is not fun.
Yeah. I remember my first week of college, and then, people are there in that lobby,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
they've got that clipboard, and it's like, you want a credit card? Of
Yeah,
course, I want a credit card, right?
they have no
Um,
idea what to do with it.
yeah, and I don't know what it's like. I mean, that was a while back, but the first amount on that credit card is $500, right?
Oh.
Well, that's what it was. So it was
Mhm.
$500, and then within a few months, it's like, you're really good with your card. Like, you get one of those letters. It's like, we're
Mhm.
going to give you 1,000, right?
To reel you
And
in.
yeah, so I always think about that. My daughter is 11, and I just we started having, like, more so me, because I remember just racking up those credit cards, right? And
Guilty.
so yeah, she has her bank account, and then when we go out,
Mhm.
I one of the things that we do is that within 48 hours, she has to check her account to see what she
Ooh,
has left. So we've
nice.
just started that, and then she just writes her balance on the calendar, right? But I'm like, how can I start early now?
Mm.
Because these habits that happen in that college or university lobby, it's
Mhm.
a hard habit to break and hard to get out of.
Exactly. And that's after like 18 years or 17, 18 years of not understanding that value. And imagine just being thrown in, you're like, whoop. And at least you were lucky that you had 500. When I got my first credit card, it was 1,500. And I was like, really? But and that was, what's the joke is now, I don't know what the price is now with giving credit cards, but they promise you like an iPad or something. So there's
Oh, that's
incentives. That's how they really reel young folks in, is giving them like a prize. And sometimes you have to learn like delayed gratification and not be
yeah,
like, oh yeah, I get an iPad or something with this. Like, it's not, slow down.
yeah. So how long have you been in business for?
I just passed my 7 years last Sunday, or not the Sunday that passed, but the 17th. So,
Yeah, lucky seven.
yes,
Congratulations.
I
Yeah,
remember the lucky seven. So I'm hoping it's smooth sailing, and with all the um obstacles and opportunities that I've had, I definitely know the things that I love about having a business and the things I don't like.
right. Yeah, it's always a journey. There's lessons every single day. Yeah,
Exactly. But the journey is great, and like the one thing I get like a great joy is hearing when folks are like, Camille, because of you, I was able to save like $10,000, or I was able to pay off my debt. And I'm like, what is this substance coming through my eye? Like that's the reason for Fitness IQ, right? Is to help people push through and know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel,
yeah, for
basically.
sure. For sure. Well, I wanted to ask you, like, what would
Mm.
you say are the two top concerns that people reach out to you for? Now, I'm sure there's many when it comes to money, but if you had to pick two, what can you share with me?
Golly. So surprisingly enough, a lot of people want to know about investing
Mm,
and just like that quick, like I just want to get money. I just want to make money. And I'm like, whoa, 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 slow down. Slow down. First we have to establish like a budget so you're able to have like that mindset of not only where's your money going for you to even invest into something, right? And also get the mindset of saving so you can eventually graduate into investing. Because if you're just putting all this money in and you don't have enough cash flow, you're going to end up with like a lot of debt or like struggling, like, oh my gosh, Camille, I wanted to invest, but I didn't know how. And I'm like, yeah, because there's baby steps, or there's steps to be doing this. Like, especially you want to have a safety net at first is before you jump into investing. And the second concern is somewhat where they're going to find money. And it goes
mm,
back to having a budget. I know people usually call that the B word. Not that B word, but it's like something they despise, and they're like, nah, it just takes too much time. Like, I can't handle this. I'm like, but in order for you to be able to be well rounded with your spending, you have to know where the money's going, and also know whether something that you're spending is worth the while at this very moment, or if you should take a pause and focus on something else. And this will help you actually learn how to make more money, because you realize, okay, I'm not making enough here, so maybe I should enhance my skills and be able to get another either, you can get into another career. It's fine. You could be in your 30s, 40s, 50s and start a new career. A lot of folks have done that. But you really want to buckle down and take a look at your spending habits, and just to see where all your money is going. So those are the two
yeah.
concerns.
So I heard like and I don't know if this is a myth, but
Hmm.
I've heard one of the things that you mentioned. People
Hmm.
say that, oh man, it's going to take too long. What do you think about that? Is that a myth? And what would you say is the other negative thing that people think? But I don't want it all to be negative. If you could just
Hmm.
like bring it back with a positive for each point there.
It's gonna take. When I hear that it's gonna take too long, I hear that it's like that's the mindset of a YOLO, or
Mm,
instant gratification. And sometimes it's you want to go for the long haul, right? If there's something that you've been doing for the past, let's say, 5 years, and you've been going down that path of stress and anxiety, perhaps you want to, there's a time when you're going to have to pivot and move back and think of something else to do, so you're able to move smoothly, and it will be a shorter time. Because
mm,
if the skills or habits that you have is not up to par, and it's derailing you from your budget or even your finances, you're really going to take longer if you don't actually take it in and say like, okay, I noticed that the way that I've been handling my finances is is not, up to par. So I would have to pivot into something that makes it faster. And also, I want to tell the folks, this is one thing that scares me the most. If you ever have gone to Walmart, have
Mm.
you seen who greets you? It's usually a
Mm.
elderly person, and sometimes, I'm not saying all because I don't want people to come for me, is that there's sometimes that person didn't understand the value of saving for a rainy day, or even have the value of um sorry let's the value of investing and
Mhm.
saving, so you'll be able to have a better future in later on. And it just scares me where people want that instant gratification, and they're like, well, I don't know what to do. I just, this is what I'm used to, so I'm going to stick with it. I'm like, but the way that you've been doing it all these years is not ideal. There are people with blueprints. There's other communities that have done things to push through, and I just want our community to realize that as well, right? So that's a little bit of it, is it's that instant gratification of not being able to see the long run. It's actually, it takes longer to get out of a rut than to fix it and start brand new and have a better savings plan and investment plan. Because hey, I don't want to work until I'm 70, because
Mhm.
the new retirement age will be 70 with the
Yeah.
government. But you definitely want to have multiple streams of income to be able to work those things out, so you don't have to work as hard. And that's one thing I've noticed. A lot of people do 2 to 3 jobs and don't realize that the CRA and taxes, or the economy, is actually gets you being an employee doesn't benefit the economy as much as having a business and giving um, the economy more money. And that's why those business owners or self-employed folks get tax incentives or deductions. So that's one thing you want to think about, is thinking of the different streams that you can have that doesn't cost that much, and be able
Mhm.
to build on that, just so your money can actually work for you.
Yeah, so I heard that second myth buster there about
Hmm.
just the fact that you have multiple jobs doesn't necessarily mean it's
Yeah.
going to solve the problem.
Exactly, because them taxes,
Right?
those taxes, golly.
Well, so money is such a personal, it's so
Yep.
personal for people. Like, you spoke earlier about the fact that it wasn't spoken about in your home. And in my home,
Hmm.
it was, I always just remembered money was always tight when I was younger. And, my mom was always like, nervous about it, and then I grew into that as well,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And sometimes we have these stories, like, so my story, like, money was tight. We've even, and this is why I remembered I met you a few months ago, and I'm like, I'm gonna, when I
Yes.
meet business owners, I'm like, I'm gonna just discover more about them, and maybe they could be on the live, and I want to get to know more about them. But
Yeah.
I have a tendency to really draw closer to those who help others with money. Because in
Yeah.
my life, I remember coming home from school and the,
Mhm.
the locks were changed. That happened like 3 times, right?
Jeez. Yeah.
And so I used to always be, it's still, that worry is still there, but I
Hmm.
really had to work so hard where it didn't keep me up at night and things like that. But sometimes we take that history
That trauma.
into, yeah, the trauma into our life, and the story is so personal. And often, well, I'm assuming, but often, like, people don't always feel like reaching out for help because it's so personal. So
Hmm.
I was curious to know, like, what is the mindset that one usually goes through when they're like, what, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to
Hmm.
reach out to someone like Kamille.
So first, I want to say big up to the folks that had bully beef back in the day when times were hard. Even though bully beef is expensive these days.
Yeah.
Um, however, when it comes to and like you said, everyone's finances are different, and there's times when it comes to it seems like there's times when people their back is against the wall and they don't know where else to go, and it's just like the same thing when I said there's a path that you're going through that you're doing it's like you're in a rat race and you're constantly doing the same thing and it's not working. So that's why, with the podcast and things, I think most times if someone sees me on the podcast and realizes
Mhm.
that I'm there to help and comes to me because they're like, wow, I see what you're doing with webinars or your podcast, and I just need help. And I try to be that person. I want to give tough love because I feel like some folks need that, but I also that person that I feel for them. So I really like emphasize with them and just like calm down and say like it's okay. I totally understand. And you know what? Kudos for you realizing that it's time that you need help. That is the first step of realizing and self-awareness. Having self-awareness about your money troubles is really essential because if you're just oblivious about it, you're never going to think you need help when everyone needs help. A doctor needs a doctor, a dentist needs a dentist, an accountant needs an
Ooh,
accountant.
I love that.
So why would you think that you can do everything yourself?
Right. Oh, I love that analogy. Thank you for that.
No problem.
So today the title of this live is things I wish I knew about money. And
Hmm.
I was wondering, I always bring it down to a number because I'm sure there's like a lot here. But what would you suggest are two simple things that
Hmm.
people can do now where, you're going to share this point and they're going to be like, "Man, I wish I knew that." Really? I don't know if they're going to have that emotion, but
So I'll always bring it back to have get to change your mindset into saving because I can't stress it enough. You need a safety net when it comes to especially this economy. You need a
Mhm,
safety net. If this the one thing I learned, especially during the pandemic, if it wasn't for like the money that I had set aside for a rainy day or or a stormy day as we had the other day, I don't know what would have happened, right? So I really that's the one thing is having a safety net, saving money for a rainy day because you never know when it's going to happen. There's going to always be a situation where you're going to say, ah, I wish I had that money to do something instead of derailing from your day-to-day expenses, right? And the second one is staying with the time. There's I know back in 2000 we were scared about technology and stuff, but right now AI, and I don't even know much about AI, but I see how AI is really coming full force into the working field or working industry. I really want folks to be able to stay with the times so you're not falling behind. You really want to adapt to what's happening in the adapting right now and then what's going to be happening in the future. Because I think what back in the day, factory works were so popular, right? Now look at it. It's not as
mhm,
popular. It's people are getting into tech, people are getting into crypto, and that's another story. I wouldn't
mhm.
say get put all your eggs in crypto, but I'm saying diversify your investments or your skills so you're able to know a little bit about something so you're not being left behind. Because the last thing I would want is the economy is so crazy. Gas gone up, grocery has gone up. You want to stay with something where you would be able to bring up your skills and increase your wages and to save.
Yeah, that's great. Like I mentioned, my daughter is 11, and I try to
Hmm.
have these conversations. My husband as well,
Yeah.
and so I know we talked about having multiple jobs. So right now she is 11. She wants to have multiple jobs. She wants to work at Starbucks because
Oh.
she can have all the fancy latte thingamajigs.
Yes.
She also wants to do dancing, and there was
Right.
something else. So we have these conversations. My husband, he
Mhm.
panics a little bit, and later on when we talk, I'm like, she's only 11, but
Yeah.
at the
Hey,
dinner
6 more
table,
years.
yeah, right. But at the dinner table, I do
Mhm.
say, I said it to her the other day, and you have to learn about AI. You have to. And she's like, what? Why do I have to? And I said, you need to do that because the
Mhm.
best thing that you could do is um, like people still continue to run from AI, and
Mm.
why not learn how to use it? So maybe you could be on the fourth job or the third job,
Exactly.
and she's going to work these all at the same time, by the way. But one of those jobs would be that they need you to design
True.
or to press the buttons and things like that,
So
right?
true. And don't
Yeah.
sleep on Starbucks because they have a stock option for their employees. Um,
Oh,
I any job that has that option or even the pension matching,
yeah.
get it. It's free money. Free
Yeah.
money.
Yeah, when I used to work at my 9 to 5, like a
Mhm.
way back when,
Mhm.
they had the pension matching, the RSP.
Yeah.
And what I did was so the pay increases were like 2 or 3%. And
Hmm.
every year there was a pay increase.
Yeah.
What I would do, I would go straight to HR, and
Yeah.
I would update my form, and I would just add the percentage because I did the math. Like
Mm.
I'm like 3%. Okay, that's this amount of money. That is so many coffees. I mean, I still buy my coffee, but
Yeah.
I said this is just like a few cups of coffee every
Mhm.
week. So let me give them up before actually drinking them. Not to mention once it goes through on my paycheck
Yeah.
and then you get
Out of sight,
taxed,
out of
as we
mind.
talked about, I wouldn't
Mhm.
see that money anyway. So
Exactly.
um, it was a year after becoming an entrepreneur, and I saw an old pay stub, and I said to my husband, "Thank goodness I left this job. Look, they weren't paying me anything." But then when I thought about it, it was like, oh, I never put the pay increases like into the bank. I just
Mm.
increased my RSPs, and it made a world of difference. So
See,
there's my
and that
milestone.
that's a that's an example of having a safety net because
Yeah.
perhaps you didn't have a safety net for now, the present, but wait till when you're retired, you'd be like, "Whoo, child, thank
Yeah.
you." Your future self is gonna be like, "Oh, thank you."
Yeah, for sure. And
Right?
then going quickly back to the point that you have about establishing like a budget. Can you
Hmm.
share, and I know everyone's story is different,
Yeah.
but can you share like one easy way to establish a budget or one easy thing that you can do to budget?
So I normally, I can't even show my complex budget because people like, back in the day when I showed my mom, she's like, I'm not doing this. I'm doing a simpler one. I was like, that's cool. Honestly, there's a saying, there's the 50% for your necessary expenses, 30% to your wants, and then 20% for your needs. But I feel like ideally the 30 and 20 should be a little bit different. I think if you're able to save more right now, you'll be able to have a better quality of life, like throughout the time. Like you just know that, okay, I don't need a trip right now. I went on a trip like 2 months ago. I'm okay. I'm just gonna simmer down and build up and invest that money. So when I get like dividends income, then I can use that dividends to pay for a trip. You
Mm,
kind of have to think of ways to trick your mind that, okay, yes, I'm suffering right now, but I'm benefiting in the future when I've used that money to actually fuel different savings. And I actually have like 5 different saving plans that I tell folks is the emergency fund, because we always need that. The OSH fund, because something always happens. The sinking fund is you always know that you're going to, your birthday comes every year, holidays, Easter, you know that you're gonna want to spend on that. Like financial freedom one, and then don't worry, I have one for y'all. Treat yourself, just
Ooh.
so you can actually just so you can actually keep through to keep going with the budget, because I don't want people to feel like, oh, Camille, I can't do anything. I'm like, no, you have to treat yourself. Like, I get it. You want to stay sane while you're trying to be financially stable and have this different path. And even if you want to do like 50 with necessary expenses, 40% with those type of savings, and
Mm.
then 10% on like others, because at the same time those five ones is going to help your your needs, essentially, because it's catering to everything. And of course, for the folks with kids or older parents, maybe the 10% is for them. Boom.
Yeah. I love
If you want
that.
to
I
give
love the
that.
math there.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Now, just to pivot a little bit, when it
Hmm.
comes to your business, Camille,
Yes.
what social media platforms do you focus on for your business and why?
Okay, so normally it was always Instagram and YouTube for the podcast. And then one of my friends was like, "You need to get TikTok." And I was like, "I don't want TikTok. It's too much. It's just too much." Like, I couldn't handle it's I'm the one person, right? And then I have Facebook. So I have Facebook, I have Instagram, YouTube, I have LinkedIn, and then you wanted me to add um TikTok. I was like, it's too much. It's too much. I can't do this. However, I realized that you can recycle your Instagram reels into TikTok. So I actually did that. And I'm not gonna lie, when I seen how much engagements was happening in there, I was like, oh. But the way I feel like TikTok is for, like, I'm not dogging the Gen Zs or the alphas, like, they're not right now focus on personal finance. So I'm more into like the Instagram and providing that educational content. Sorry,
Content?
content. Thank you. I'm focusing on like just giving the information, so like, to reel them in. And then the YouTube is mostly just me talking about personal finance because I love it so much. Like, I could just talk to myself for like an hour and people are like, Camille, you really just spoke about that? I was like, yeah, because I love it and stuff. And then that helps people learn and then come to me. I've actually gotten many clients based on Instagram, mostly Instagram, but also YouTube once they found me. And I was like, okay, this is working. But I know I have to do more YouTube shorts or more reels, because people are more into reels as of late as than reading. So as a personal finance trainer, I really have to adjust what catches people's eye. And I
Yeah.
want to try to make like some fun skits, because I know people say, it's personal finance, it's not fun. I get it, but it can be fun when you actually
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that you shared that. That really goes to show you that we don't have to be everywhere. And you tried TikTok and maybe you're going to dabble there, but it's not for you. And
Yeah.
I love the fact that you shared with everyone how social media has been helping you. And
Hmm.
just even like talking about the fact that the platforms change and sometimes you got to do the reels or do the shorts. But
Yeah, the
yeah, social
algorithm
media
is
is a
changing.
great way to reach more. And we've got like a real life story here of the fact that people are reaching out to you.
Yes.
So we're coming up to the end, and I wanted to know, like, is there anyone you want to shout out, or do you have anything going on in your business right now?
I was thinking when you mentioned your daughter, and just having that discussion with her, I actually remembered that I want to big up Andre Smith. That's my brother from another mother. He has uh an app coming out, Flip and Floss. I didn't want to butcher it. It's called Flip and Floss, and it's actually helping kids learn about personal finance. And I'm
Mm,
one person that's actually like pushing it out because obviously I'm all about personal finance, and we have the same similar um, mission to help and changing people's lives. So I definitely want folks to check out that. And I'm just doing webinars and workshops with like Centennial, and then I have a workshop that's coming up, a summer basketball soccer camp, and there's gonna be a little, financial literacy in it too. So stay tuned for that. I'm gonna be posting it on my social medias because that's how you use it.
right. And this is a great lead in. So,
Yeah.
how can people find out more about you? Like, where are we going to look for you online, Camille?
Okay, well, I am almost everywhere. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, the same name, FitnanceIQ Services, or no, just FitnanceIQ. And then my YouTube channel, which I really want to push, is Things I Wish I Knew About Money podcast. And that's every Saturday. I normally do it live every Saturday, or you can catch it on Spotify on Sundays at
Yeah.
11:11.
Okay, great. Thank you. And I'll make sure that I download that, like I'll subscribe to the podcast.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Camille, thank you. I'm so glad that I met you, and
Yes.
I've been following you. And like I said, finances, it's always been due to history, like just near and dear to my heart, because I think we can all do better, and
Mhm.
we can all like aspire to have like a better type of lifestyle if we
Yes,
make different types of decisions. So thank you
absolutely.
so much for coming on to Strategize Your Business Online. And I'd
Thank you.
love to thank everybody who is watching, whether I can't see any comments right now, but whether you're watching live, and
Mhm.
or if you're watching the replay, still don't forget to leave the name of your business, your website, because I'd love to like check you out on your website. Feel
Sure.
free to leave like the other place that we could find you on social media. So this will be uploaded to YouTube. So if you're
Nice.
watching it on YouTube, then let us know where we could find you on that other social media platform. And
Exactly.
yeah, and that is all that we have. So you can catch the replay everywhere. Thank you so much again, Camille.
Thank
And
you
I
for
will
having
see,
me.
yeah, yeah.